manager of membership.
Good evening and welcome back to Mystics Matters. You caught me, Frank, back there speaking with Kristin Hartnett, and we are the membership director for the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, and she's pinch hitting this evening for Tricia Walsh, the president. And Kristin, welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Well, I'm honored too, because I never got a chance to work with you like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get to have the opportunity to have a new co-host, I always think it's a very exciting time, and also it gives you an opportunity to highlight another part of what we do at the chamber, which is membership. So glad you're here this evening.
Thank you.
Kristin, what do we have going on at the chamber right now?
Well, since I am manager of membership, I would like to introduce the campaign for this year, which would be Relationships Equal Revenue. Would you agree with that sentiment?
I do agree with that sentence.
Yes. So I'm going to announce our networking events that are coming up. So April 9th is a business before hours at Giovanni's Riverside Salon and La Spa. That's in downtown Mystic.
Great.
And that's 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Fairly new business?
Fairly new
Okay,
business,
great.
but they have actually been in business for years and years. They've just relocated to the downtown area. And then April 16th is the Groton Business Association at the new restaurant at the Groton Airport, the Beacon Restaurant.
Okay.
So we're very excited to break them in, per se. And April 23rd is a ribbon cutting at CJ's Laundromat, a new laundromat in Groton that has just joined the Mystic Chamber.
What time is that?
That is a 5:30 ribbon cutting, and he says he'll have pizza.
Well, Kristin, that's fantastic, but I do have one question for that ribbon cutting. Will they be able to do our laundry that evening?
Well, I can't promise anything, but bring it, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we do have an exciting show, Kristin, this evening, and I want to say a very, very important show. We have Ed Dombroskas from Mystic Country, and welcome, Ed, this evening.
Thank you.
I was so excited, and I'm sure Kristin was too, to have Ed on, because if you are a viewer, and I know many of you have been viewers for probably over 20 years, when we started with Frank Ficini, Mystic and Eastern Connecticut has been our lives for so many years. I started the show with Linnea Lindstrom in the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Ed knows all the players, the Joyce Resnikoffs, the Steve Whites, the Steve Cohen, we call it the Golden Triangle, and much more. So it's a great opportunity to have Ed here with us to showcase an upcoming year and to talk about how important tourism is for our area. So speaking of Mystic Country, Ed, tell us a little bit about what that encompasses.
Well, Mystic Country is really Eastern Connecticut. Technically, we're the Eastern Regional Tourism District, but that encompasses the 42 towns of Eastern Connecticut. The state is divided into 3 regional tourism districts. There's the Western District, which is Litchfield County, as well as Fairfield County, and the Central Tourism District, which is Hartford, Middlesex, and New Haven County. And then Eastern Connecticut, Mystic Country, is all of Eastern Connecticut. And that, as I say, represents 42 towns, but also represents over 1,500 businesses that are directly tourism related.
I did not know that, Kristin. It's 1,500. That's quite a number of businesses.
Now, I know from the past it was not always such a small number of districts. It used to be a larger number, yes?
Right. Back in the early 90s, there were 19 tourism districts, and then they went to 11, and then 5, and then now the 3. And that's been a decision of the state legislature for economics. And of course, in Eastern Connecticut, Southeastern Connecticut, we used to enjoy a budget of over $1 million a year. Right. And now that budget is less than half that total amount. But we make do.
Right.
Now, one of the things that I really love about Mystic Country is that it encompasses not only the shoreline, but the country area too. So when in the marketing, even as a resident of this area, I started to become more aware of day trips that I could do and things that I would be interested in even as a resident. So What are some of the things that you do at the tourism district to advertise to the locals, per se?
Well, for not only the locals, but also from people out of the area, we really divide Eastern Connecticut, Mystic Country, into four experiential quadrants. One, of course, is Mystic itself, with the feel, the look, the style of Mystic. Then we talk about the shoreline, the country, and the casinos, which is a purely separate. So there are four quadrants of activities that we're really focusing on and encouraging people to explore and enjoy.
So just getting back to, and I'm going to jump around just a little bit, Kristin. We've talked about sort of the budget and the idea that Ed has said we're going to make do with this, quite frankly, very small budget. And as we go through the budgeting process, which all of us are familiar with, the state of Connecticut, how is this going to affect this current budget or not budget that we have coming up with? I just don't know how to put that with the governor's budget right now.
Well, the governor's budget recommends elimination of regional tourism efforts. And what we know is that the state tourism effort is important because it encourages people to start thinking about Connecticut. But Connecticut is multiple experiences. So if someone that lives in New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania or Massachusetts, when they start thinking about Connecticut, they've put it on their list. The job of the regional tourism district, the Mystic Country, is to make sure that they choose Mystic Country as their destination. And that means being very granular about knowing what's going on, the chambers, knowing what activities there are all up and down the eastern border of Connecticut. If the governor's budget is approved, all of that goes away. All of the individual marketing, the visitor's guide for Mystic Country, answering the telephone when it rings, someone making vacation plans for the weekend or for the upcoming week. And what's all the more important is that recent research that the state has just completed is showing that people are making their vacation decisions 21 days ahead of the time that they actually leave their home. That means that they...
I did not know that. Wait a minute, 21 days ahead of time. Well, actually, that makes sense, Kristin, if you think about that. Especially if you have a family and you're trying to get your vacations on the calendar, that absolutely makes sense.
Susette, have you ever taken just 21 days and suddenly gone somewhere?
Well, it really, as a matter of fact, not to get back to that just a little bit, I don't think that far ahead, but my husband and my staff do, and certainly it impacts whatever I do. It impacts my business. Mm-hmm. But I'm really talking about families and how that would impact them as a family. In 21 days, it to me sounds like something. If we don't get ahead of it, we've lost it. Is that?
That's exactly true.
All right.
Unless we're there to influence that decision at that time, they're going to pick someplace else, the Jersey Shore, Cape Cod, the Berkshires, and Newport, any one of our competitors. So we're competing for the same people going to the individual destinations. And if we're not competing for them, then we're simply not going to see the same numbers of visitors there are to this area. And going back to the very basis of what tourism is, it is the second most important industry in the state of Connecticut, and one of it's almost tied for the most important economic industry in Eastern Connecticut. It employs more people and produces more income to the economy in Eastern Connecticut than any other industry. And in Eastern Connecticut, we represent over 40% of the total tourism income, total visitation to the entire state.
So most people, when they're looking at Connecticut, a higher percentage are actually coming to Mystic.
Absolutely.
So we shoulder a lot of the burden as far as that goes.
That's right.
Tourism. Now, the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce is so grateful to Mystic Country because they can field the phone calls, because they can distribute the literature,
which is this
that we
beautiful
have.
guide that just comes out. That's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's distributed all over the state, and this is something that the Mystic Country gives us as a service. Now, the Mystic Chamber of Commerce is grateful for them because they can do that for us, and they really take care of a lot of our members that have a lot to do with tourism. 47% of our members are directly affected by tourism. And then everybody else lives here, and so they are affected anyway.
That was what the conversation prior to the show is, when I have a local business, however, which is not centrally located in, I would say, the tourism area of Mystic, but it's where the people work.
Right.
It's directed. I mean, there are people in high-level jobs, medium-level jobs. I mean, just all around, my business is based on that economic engine that is tied to tourism. So, Ed, how can we, as a district, partners with Mystic Country, how can we get the word out there and really help all of us to say, look, money has to be put back into our budget. We need that to promote our area. How can just the lay person help?
Well, it's important to make clear to your elected representatives, the state senators and state representatives that serve in the legislature, it's important that they know how important tourism is as an industry to individuals' individual livelihoods, their businesses, their income, their education. And to do that, the best thing to do is to call or to write your individual legislator. Now, people say, well, everyone is, they're not going to listen. That's not true. Legislators who receive a phone call or receive a short note, handwritten, which just express the opinion of their constituents, are going to take that to heart. And this year, probably more than ever in the past 20 years, it's more important because they're making terribly difficult decisions about what to fund, where are those very valuable dollars going, and they want them to go to the deserving areas that need attention. And for us, we're not saying that tourism is an expenditure. It really is an investment, because for every dollar that's spent to promote tourism, $12 is returned to the state's economy. So it's not an issue of spending money. It's investing in the economy to get that return, see the income coming back to the state.
Well, I think it's sort of, Kristin, like Business 101. I think, first of all, let's just go back to the perception that, like where you live, you guys are doing great. I mean, tourism has always been, you don't need any more money down there. And I think that is truly a perception. It's like Business 101. You're not going to get the business if you don't put the investment in the business.
If you don't leave the light on, then people aren't going to know you're open.
Exactly. And getting back to what you said, sort of calling your legislators with a handwritten note is funny. Years ago, that's all we ever did. was handwritten notes. I remember Barbara Struther from years ago. We used to write our legislators in a handwritten note. Now there's emails. I mean, certainly you can go online and figure out who your legislators are in your district. Or we can call a chamber and we can tell you. It's very important now as the budget is being handled. And we're all up there. We've all been up there. Ed, I know you. You've been. I mean, your car probably knows the legislative office is up there and gets to Hartford. But it's so important. And I've been asked as a small business, well, Susette, where is this money going, and how does it impact independent businesses? How would you say?
It impacts them very directly. It impacts individuals directly. The recent research that the state has completed is showing that without the tourism industry in Connecticut, every family in the state would have to pay at least $420 more in taxes to replace the income lost from the tourism industry. So there certainly is that. But individually, in our area in particular, people are employed directly by the tourism industry. There's a common belief that tourism jobs are low-pay, low-end jobs. Well, the truth of it is, tourism employs chefs and accountants and business managers. And if you're a business manager or an accountant at a manufacturing company, you're paid the same amount as if you're an accountant or a business manager in tourism.
But that
also, the same.
Exactly, Ed. And that also, speaking of that, does domino effect to Majestic Jewelers.
Mm-hmm.
Because that accountant, that business manager, that chef, and I can tell you, who works for that tourism industry has the capability or the funds to come in and buy a piece of jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So it is all that domino effect that comes down to tourism dollars. And so it's very, very important. Now, you've got a couple of brochures here.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about some of these little trails and where is this all located? Where are these little brochures put, Ed?
Well, they're put in any location that we can find that will accept them. Your jewelry store,
absolutely, yeah,
certainly should have them.
Yeah.
But the idea is to move people around in all of Eastern Connecticut.
Okay.
We know that if they're coming to Mystic, they may be interested in exploring northeastern Connecticut for the trails or the drives. So what we've done is put together thematic trails. One is the Sunday drives, the ice cream trail.
This is probably the guy. I looked at this on our little table here, and this Sunday drives. I mean, this is fantastic.
It's ice cream all through Eastern Connecticut.
I have to ask you, Ed, and you can be very honest. Did you think of this?
I did not think of that.
I would have taken credit for this because this is Sunday, Sundae Drive. So this is is this listing all the
places that you can get ice cream of different sorts and types and flavors.
Is there a prize if you go to all of them in the same day? Or?
20 pounds.
This is a fantastic brochure, and then you have my favorite, which I am going to take these antique trails.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the antique trail was so successful and so popular that the state legislature, the year after we introduced that, passed a bill to create a statewide antiques trail because it is popular. Connecticut is known as being an emporium for antiques, antique exploration. So what we've done is put together a trail of all the antique outlets in Eastern Connecticut. And then we have others for foodie finds, which are sort of iconic food areas in the state. Pet-friendly places that you can bring your cat, your dog when you're on vacation, even your snake and horse.
So that is all information?
All information that we gather, put together. And then, of course, there's the Mystic Pizza Trail. Still today, Mystic Pizza is a popular driver of people to come to visit the area. They want to know where it's filmed. And we were able to make an agreement with the State Film Office and the producers to put together the trail of all the locations that it was filmed at. So people do come, ask us for the brochure.
Well, it is one of the most popular
Mystic
Pizza.
Absolutely.
Now, and all that information can be found on the website, which is
mystic.org.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tune in to mystic.org and find the information that you'd like. We also have a blog and seemysticcountry.com that we're always talking about places that we've gone to or seen or things that are happening in the area. It's sort of the up-to-date information, thinking about those people in that 21-day period who may hear about the foliage and where it is. Or right now, we talk about the sugar, maple sugar, and who's boiling and where you can go and actually see it done this weekend.
That's an awful lot of information.
It's a really very impressive staff over at Mystic Country. I mean, they really keep the Mystic area very relevant and completely up to date. And it is something that we refer to as well when we're looking at the Mystic Chamber calendar.
Yeah, Ed, a lot of us have known you a long time. And a lot of us have been entrenched. I mean, I think all three of us have been, Father Greg and Martin, and all of us have been entrenched in sort of mystic and Mystic Country. You have a passion for tourism. And you're sort of the go-to guy, I think, with, combining a lot of this information. Why?
Well,
I got a laugh out of Ed, okay?
Well, actually...
Because it's not just a job for you.
No, it's not.
And I know that about you because when we've gone back and we've cut and things got moved around and things like that, there's Ed, in the paper fighting for it. And so there's got to be that passion. I'd like to know personally.
Well, I've always loved Connecticut, generally. Yeah. And 20 plus years ago, 1990, Governor Weicker, many may remember that there was an economic downturn. And Governor Weicker said that tourism is a possibility of helping to pull this state out of an economic downturn. And at the time, I was...
Is this 20 years ago?
1990, whatever that
that is.
To.
We won't go with the date.
Everything's 20 years ago now.
Don't figure that out, okay? Thank you, Kristin.
And so the governor formed a task force and asked me to chair it. We put together with the legislature state statutes that put together a tourism office and tourism promotion funds and started the effort. We started made an assessment. Tourism was a $4 billion a year industry in Connecticut.
$4 billion?
Right, and that was 1990.
That was done.
And now it is over a $16 billion a year industry. So it is.
I need to just capture that a little bit because I think if people have to know that in 1990 it was a $4 billion industry. We are looking at a $16 billion industry right now.
That's right.
That is a very large number.
Right. And, tourism is fun.
Right. Well, speak about Sunday drives. Tourism's a lot of fun.
Well, it's really an import-export business. You're importing people and exporting smiles, and they're leaving their money behind and hoping that they come back again. And I've had the pleasure of visiting all of the towns, cities, many of the attractions, not all of them. And it is the kind of job that isn't a job so much as it is a real interest and passion and knowing that you can make a difference. And as I say, I love Connecticut, and what better way to show that than to invite people to come and enjoy it with you.
And so what do you think is the most important? Is it sort of the memories that they're left with here to drive them back? What do you think? Do we have enough retention? Are we doing enough for retention? Mm-hmm. Is it getting Kristin and I back with our families? Is that important to Mystic Country?
Well, it is, because, if you really think about what Mystic Country and all of Eastern Connecticut is, it's America as it ought to be. It's people working together, small businesses. We don't have tourism factories that produce giant scale tourism. We have smaller attractions, smaller businesses, families, farms, trails, people that work together, solve problems together. Countryside that has history, art, culture. It's all really here and put together. And that's why we can be an important attraction for potential tourists. It offers so much in the way of if it's entertainment, if it's education, if it's just fun families getting together and and enjoying that time together, we can offer those opportunities in multitudes. And so that's our stock and trade. And the more we can promote that and let people know that it's here, the better off we're all going to be as residents, and our visitors are going to be for the experiences that they hold for the rest of their lives.
Now, of course, people do come to visit Mystic Country, and they are interested in real estate all of a sudden. And they say, oh, what would it be like to live here? And I've worked in the hospitality industry, and there is a percentage of guests that eventually come back. They stop staying at the hotel because they've bought a property in the Mystic area.
That's a very good point. Talk about retention. It's that impact that we have made because of the resources and, of course, the dollars put back into the industry that they say they want to come back. Now, I will tell you it was a tough winter, but it's the strong that survive, okay? But within that time, you still can have a Sunday drive. Trust me on this one. It's fantastic. What are the costs of some of the district services, and what does it cost?
Absolutely nothing.
It's true.
We provide our services for anyone in the industry for free, as well as to the potential visitor, the visitors that are here. That's why we don't ask for advertising dollars. We do cooperative efforts where we join places together so that we can go to a show and they can have more effective use of their money. But we don't charge at all for any of our services.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, we only have a few more minutes, and I just want everybody on the that's watching this evening to see some of these beautiful posters. And as we go forward, thank you very much, Frank. Ed Dombroskas and your team at Mystic Country, you've done such a great job to represent us, the Greater Mystic Chamber, and of course, Mystic Country in itself. And I'm very proud to be on the same set with you this evening. And Kristin, if we could just get your website, Ed, and how to contact you.
It's mystic.org or seemysticcountry.com as the blog. Either one will put you right in touch with us.
And I encourage, it's right there on the screen, I encourage you, as we are still in the budgeting processes, and I'm just going to reiterate what Ed Dombroskas has said, write your legislature, constituents is very, very important. If you believe in tourism and that $16 billion industry, and if you believe in what Kristin mimicked today, in a really nice American dream, sort of apple pie area, that's who we are, and we're very proud to, all of us, represent this organization. So write your legislators and tell them how important it is to put that money back in the budget. And another thing too is, if you put a little bit more, we wouldn't complain either. Ed, good evening. Nice to have you. Kristin, thank you so much. I'll see you next week. You'll be co-hosting with me again.
Yes, ma'am.
We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Mystic Matters. Good evening.
Good evening.